And welcome back to the Hockey Talk podcast, where we discuss all things Bruins. Let's go, Bees.
Hello, I'm Brandon, and welcome to episode 3 of Hockey Talk. Today we are going to be recapping the Bruins' last 3 games and how they are unable to win games and what needs to be done heading into the Thanksgiving break next week. So let's get started. At the time I'm recording this, the Bruins are 8-9-3 with 19 points, sitting in 5th in the Atlantic Division. The Bruins have been struggling really hard this season, and to be brutally honest, the losses have been embarrassing. So let's talk about the last 3 games. First, we will start with Thursday when the Bruins headed to Dallas to take on the Stars. The Stars jumped out to a 2-0 lead with goals by Matt Duchene at 18:51 and Evgeny Dadonov with a penalty shot at 13:24. And Charlie Coyle scored his 3rd goal of the season with 2 minutes left in the first period to put the Bruins on the board. The second period was like a runaway train for the Stars. The Stars scored 3 unanswered goals scored by Logan Stankoven at 5:45. Then Oscar back a minute and 41 seconds later, and Evgeny Dadonov scored his 2nd of the game with 11 seconds left in the second period. The score at the buzzer was 5-1 Dallas. Slaughter continued in the 3rd period, and Rupi Heinz scored at 19:13. The Bruins were able to respond to that goal with a goal from David Pastrnak at 16:25. Mason Marchment sealed the deal with a slapshot goal with 2:41 left in the 3rd period. The final score was 7-2 Dallas. Next up, the Bruins were turned home on Saturday to take on the St. Louis Blues, who had their 2-0 lead erased by the Bruins in St. Louis on Tuesday. The Blues scored first in the first period at 13:35. Then 3 minutes later, Trent Frederic scored his 2nd goal of the season, assisted by Georgi Merkulov, who was called up from the Providence Bruins before the game. Merkulov played with the Bruins in the preseason. 3 minutes later, Trent Frederic scored his 2nd goal of the game, assisted by Mason Lohrei, giving the Bruins a 2-1 lead. The second period was scoreless, then the Blues tied the game with 10 minutes left in the 3rd period. It was still tied at the siren. The game headed to overtime, and Braden Shen scored the game-winning goal with 2 minutes left in overtime. The Bruins have a 2-game losing streak. This brings us to the final game of this episode. The Bruins faced the Columbus Blue Jackets at TD Garden Monday night. The Blue Jackets scored first in the first period at 14:43 and scored again at 9:21 to jump out to a 2-0 lead. James Van Riemsdyk scored. The former Bruin, who played with them last season, scored with 32 seconds left in the opening frame. Blue Jackets had a 3-0 lead after 20 minutes. The second period only had 1 goal, and that was by the Bruins and Charlie Coyle with 5 minutes left in the second period to put the Bruins on the board. The score was 3-1 after 40 minutes. The Blues dominated the 3rd period, scoring 2 goals at 12:41 and 3:50. The final score of that game was 5-1. That loss extended the Bruins' losing streak to 3 games. I think the Bruins need something done in management, looking for trades, because this is pathetic. Something needs to be done to remedy this. The Bruins take on Utah on Thursday at home, head to Detroit on Saturday, and take on Vancouver next Tuesday and head into the Thanksgiving break. As I said, something needs to be done to fix this. If something isn't done soon, we might end up last in the league. That's all we have for this week. Thank you for listening, and I will see you next week. Go Bruins.